Good afternoon, everyone. Scott Abbott, Regional Parks, Trails, and Open Space Manager. About 9 o'clock this morning, I got a report from one of our on-site park rangers that we had an issue with North Cheyenne Canyon's road. Some pictures were sent to me. Really what it looks like is we've had a significant amount of rainfall, certainly over the past few days, and that has created some erosion issues along the roadside. The creek is running at a very high rate. What had happened is the creek side had eroded, and we have about a third of the roadway missing at this point. It had collapsed and has fallen into the creek. So we have a situation on our park road that is causing it to be impassable by cars at this point. So we've closed the road to traffic. We want to make sure that the public knows that the park trails are still open, but traffic through the canyon is closed at this point. We're working with our stormwater engineering department. They're taking a closer look at really the ins and outs of what may happen continually as we are in the middle of a weather pattern, and we might get some rain today and tomorrow and maybe even into the weekend. And they have more technical aspects of what may continue to happen to that road. But for now, we do have the park closed to traffic. I would have no ability to give you a ballpark on when the road would be fixed and open for traffic. But if folks want to park in the parking areas that are outside of the road corridor, they can still access our park trails. And it's very important to emphasize that we really want the public to stay on our park trail system. We do not want people on the roadway at this time. Sure. The northern entrance to North Cheyenne Canyon Park comes through Gold Camp Road, and we have that access closed as well at this point. We would just end up overloading the park from one direction without any ability for ingress and egress other than that one area. So we're keeping that area closed at now until we get more information. Yes and yes. During the initial stages of trying to understand what was happening, clearly we had park visitors in the park this morning, and we allowed them to come through the area. But as we learned more about the significance of what is happening to that road, we closed all traffic, and we moved all of the people who remained in the park up and out through the Gold Camp exit. We had significant rains in 14 and 15, caused significant damage to Gold Camp Road itself, and we lost a section of that road in its entirety. So during that time, we had significant damages to Gold Camp Road and North Cheyenne Canyon Road as well. Absolutely. We don't want anybody getting close to anything that could be deemed a danger, and we would like for them to notify, really, if it's an emergency situation, notify 911 so we can get people on site very quickly. Yeah, the folks that live in the canyon are used to situations like this, whether it's a snow event, whether it's a rain event like this. We have had some closures and some issues in the past, so they're used to understanding that there is another opportunity for egress, and we're certainly working with them, make sure that they have all their access needs taken care of, and that they can come and go as they need. way too early to comment on that as well. You know, we work with our race event organizer and make sure we're making really good decisions for all parties involved. Again, we're still in the middle of an active weather pattern, so we just want to make sure that we're going to make good judgment call as we get closer to that event. Yeah, we're working with our Public Works Department, and even as early as today, we might see some attempts at kind of shoring up what has already been eroded. Again, we're just trying to make some efforts. The possibility of slowing down the erosion to that creek side, that's a possibility. So we're trying to make an effort and do all we can do in the interim. I'm a park manager, not a roadway engineer, so I want to make sure that our engineers make sure they kind of attend to that type of question.
Any other questions for Scott? All right. Thanks, Scott. I will just add, in talking with our Public Works Department and our city engineer specifically, that there is a process to certify the roadway as safe, and so our city engineering department and along with stormwater will have to get in there and make those assessments and make sure that the roadway is safe before we open it. And as Scott noted, it's going to take some time, and we don't know what that timetable is yet. I do want to bring up Micah Rice, who's with the Pikes Peak Apex, and I know there are a couple questions about that event, and Micah can answer kind of where they are on that process and determining what's going to happen with their event. Micah?
Hello, Micah Rice with the Pikes Peak Apex and the Colorado Springs Sports Corporation. We were alerted this morning to what was going on up here on North Cheyenne Canyon Road. We are planning the Pikes Peak Apex race. It'll be the 6th year this year. We've been concentrating, of course, on Palmer Park. That race is on Friday when we kick off the Apex. So we're already working on reroutes in Palmer Park, staying away from muddy sections. Our Saturday event is down in Canyon City. So we're working with Canyon City Recreation District as well as parks down there on some possible reroutes to stay out of the mud in Canyon City. And then, as you guys know, on Sunday, we're supposed to be here in Cheyenne Canyon. At this point, we're working very closely with the city, working closely with Parks, Scott and his team, to make sure that we're going to stay away from areas that might be dangerous to riders, situations that we want to avoid because there's work being done. It's too early to exactly tell exactly what we're going to be doing here. But I understand right now that the trails are open in Cheyenne Canyon at this time, and this is an off-road cycling event. So our expectation is that we will have some sort of event, some sort of race here in the Cheyenne Canyon area. We're just really not sure where that's going to be, and we want to avoid any areas that are getting work on them or might be dangerous for our riders. So that's the current situation, and we've got several days before our race here on Sunday, including a nice dry out day on Saturday, which will hopefully dry out the trails a little bit more. The great thing about this Pikes Peak granite is that it kind of is very rocky and sandy, and water moves away from it very quickly. So the vast majority of trails that we've got up here are going to be very appropriate to ride 48 hours after it stops raining. So our expectation is that we will still be able to have a great event up here in Cheyenne Canyon on Sunday. We're just really watching to see what trails and roads that we're going to be able to participate on. So that's the plan right now. We'll absolutely pay attention to the social media and the websites here with the city and then the Parks Department. They'll know. We'll be taking cue from them on exactly what's happening and what's open and what's closed. We've of course got direct emails of all of our participants. We're going to be updating them. We've got a rider meeting tomorrow night at Shields where we'll be updating them with all of our new courses as we get them. Probably Sunday won't be fully decided by tomorrow night, but we'll be keeping everyone in the loop. And of course, our Pikes Peak Apex social media will have all of that information. We'll continue to update everybody on what's going on. but I think we'll still have some great racing this weekend here in Colorado Springs.
We'll probably just take a pause here for a second because I'm sure you guys want to get rid of the truck.
With all the
If you
boulders.
want to move, we'll just take a pause here.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining us here at the 11 Alert Desk this afternoon. I'm Lauren Watson, your digital content manager here at KKTV 11 News. It looks like there was a little bit of a signal interruption with our crew out in the field as they were bringing some materials back into the park, it looks like. Here's what you need to know. North Cheyenne Canyon Park is currently closed to vehicles after a significant portion of the road washed out. Crews arrived on scene this morning, found that a large chunk of the road was missing on North Cheyenne Canyon Road, and that closed that road, closed Gold Camp Road to vehicles. The park is now closed to vehicles until further notice, and we've been hearing from, again, park officials with Pikes Peak Apex and Sports Corps about an event that's supposed to be going on in the park this weekend. I'm looking to see, it does look like our crew in the field is trying to get in contact with me right now. But again, that's what we know right now. I'm going to pull up that image from the city of Colorado Springs of that road washout. Oh, it looks like our live picture might actually be back with those materials going into the park right now to try and fix up that roadway. Again, what we know right now, the park is closed to vehicles as crews are working to assess that damage, figure out how long repairs are going to take. Park manager says about a third of the roadway in one area is washed out. Again, they are still making those assessments, and there is no timeline on when the park will reopen to vehicle traffic.
I don't know if anyone's got any follow-up questions for me or not, but pretty simple.
Here, Tim, just step forward a little bit. Tim's going to pull in right here.
Okay, great. Tim's more exciting to talk to than me. I'm just a bike race guy. All right.
Okay, you guys all good? Any more questions for Micah? Okay. Yeah, we have Tim Bellacchini here from Stormwater. If you want to come up here, Tim, and we've mostly just talked about just the park, the impact to the park. If you can kind of answer some questions, just walk them through a little bit. What's happening water-wise and what you've seen up there.
Well,
You spell your name too.
I'm Tim Bellacchini, B as in boy, IOLCHINI. I'm with City Stormwater Capital Group. I run our capital program. Today we had the creek is flowing higher than it has in probably 10 years. So it caused some damage up in the canyon, washed out a portion of the roadway. And so we're just trying to work that problem. This is a unique issue. It happened right next to infrastructure for Colorado Springs utilities. So we're working with them because we need to protect their utilities. We need to protect our road. There's really nothing we can do until the rain stops, which isn't supposed to happen until Friday. And this rain, mind you, it doesn't have to rain here. It's raining up in the mountains. So all that water's coming down. But what we are trying to do is get the water diverted away from the road so we don't lose more of it. Right now it's down to one lane, and if we can save that lane, then at least we can get equipment in and still work the problem after the rain stops.
So you're minimizing damages today, though, when rain stops, assess the road?
Then, yeah, after the rain stops, we will assess the situation. We need to assess the utility infrastructure that's in place to make sure that's in good state and that doesn't need to be repaired before we go and do a fix to the roadway. Well, you can hear it behind me. This water is raging because it comes down at a very steep slope, and it also collects very rapidly because you have a lot of rock up in the canyon, and so there's nothing to absorb the water. Everything has been wet for the past week, so it's pretty well saturated, so any new rain is just going to run right off into the creek. Correct.
Tim, you mentioned the creek hasn't been this high in 10 years. I just hoping you could elaborate that on a little bit. Is this something we knew could potentially happen? It seems like the rain last year wasn't too severe, but it worse and worse as the years kind of go on type deal? Or?
These things go in cycles. In 2013, we had a flood. 2015, we had a flood. Here we are 10 years later in 2023. We had another disaster declaration. Fortunately, that was on the east side of town and mostly out toward the airport. Here we are in 2025, and we have another rainstorm. So it is cyclical. It does happen, and this isn't as big a rainstorm as we actually designed for. We designed for much higher events, but you can't control everything. If you get debris coming down, which we think is what happened here, the debris got caught up and forced that water over toward the road, then there's not much we can do.
Any other questions for Tim, you guys?
I think it's kind of really different angles and processes for kind of getting this fixed and back to normal. What's kind of stormwater's, I guess, kind of workload like, or what is it that you guys kind of have to pitch in as this road kind of gets fixed and looking forward beyond that?
Right now with this problem, we're really just in the position to advise and help out where we can. It is a park. It's in El Paso County. So technically it's not a city channel, but we're going to do what we have to get the road open because that is a city road. And so we're just here to coordinate all our different divisions and see who can do what in the interim. And then we'll work with city engineering to get a repair designed and a replacement on the road. That's for this project. There's another couple truckloads right down the road I just passed. What we're trying to do is fill in the void that was made at the road to push that water away from it, and that those boulders won't move. That's why they're so massive, is to work against the force of that water. Yeah, we're pushing the water back into the channel where it should be, away from the road, so the road doesn't erode even more.
Awesome. I think that's it. Well, thank you everybody for coming, and just let us know if you have any other follow-up questions.